I have really bad self-sabotage tendencies. Every time something good is going for me in life, I sabotage it and ruin it. And I cannot put into words why I do this, but I'm sure some of you can relate to this. For example, I will get obsessed with the idea of writing a book or starting a YouTube channel. I will tell everybody about it. I will go super hard on it. I will get addicted to the idea of it and actually in the first couple weeks I will work fervently on just achieving that goal. Eventually, I eventually it all becomes so real to me that I just sabotage everything. A couple of weeks later, a couple months later, somebody reaches out and asks, "What happened to the YouTube channel, bro? What happened to that book you were going to write? What happened to..." I'll tell you what happened. I self-sabotaged. I got scared. I didn't I didn't think I could actually do it. And that became terrifying to me. This is the story of my life. I'm actually on the verge of tears right now explaining this. In high school, I wanted to play basketball. I was pretty good. I mean, I lacked some fundamentals, but I really enjoyed the game and I always wanted to play and compete. I would daydream about me on the court playing like an actual game. And everybody always wondered, why don't you play basketball? Why don't you play for the school? Why don't you play for a team? And essentially, what I told everybody was that I wasn't allowed, that my parents didn't let me, that they wouldn't pay for it, which was a lie. I didn't do it. I was too scared. It all became so real to me. The idea of failing in front of people. Am I gonna die? It's a scary noise. The idea of failing in front of so many people, the idea of not being good enough, my insecurities, either in my personality, in my looks, or in my game, in my ability to play basketball. Either way, I was so scared that I took the easy way out. I took the path of least resistance. I sabotaged my goals, my dreams, and what did I get in return? Comfort and regret and depression because I didn't achieve anything. I didn't go after anything. This is the reality of people who sabotage. They get depressed because they have so many goals, they have so many dreams, but they never end up achieving them or working towards them because they always get scared. They're always terrified. It's like it gets to a point of fight or flight mode for them and they just give up. They just disengage. And this is exactly how I am. It's exactly how I was. High school graduation. Technically, I actually wasn't allowed to go to graduation because I didn't pass my advisory class my senior year because I just didn't go. There was no point in going. But I actually did that on purpose. If I wanted to go to graduation, if I cared even the slightest, if I didn't already convince myself that I was not going to go to graduation, I would have actually made an effort to attend that class and be able to graduate. But I was so terrified at the idea of, after COVID, graduating, going to my high school graduation in front of all these people. People who I failed in front of, people who I've stuttered in front of, people who I've never even met, the hundreds that are in the crowd. I already made the decision to not go. And my excuse was I didn't pass advisory, so I couldn't graduate. Which was true, but I purposefully did that myself. Purposefully sabotaged. All throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school, my whole childhood, I sabotaged relationships. I sabotaged relationships and friendships. Every relationship I was ever in, I sabotaged. Every friendship that was actually good for me, I sabotaged. I avoided. I cut ties with. I did something to make them cut ties with me. All because of my own insecurity. In high school, there was this girl that I really liked, and I completely sabotaged the whole thing out of fear. It is not as much of a regret anymore because I'm married now and I have a godly, beautiful wife that I'm married to. But I still look back on that and I just wonder, what would happen if I just did it? If I just went through with it? What would my life look like now? What would my life look like if I just played basketball? If I just did it and figured it out as I go? What would happen if I just started that YouTube channel 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and just continued doing it? Doing what I loved, recording videos, talking to people. What if I just did it? What if I just wrote that book that I always wanted to write? Where would I be now? That's a really... This is something that you have to avoid in your life. And I know if you're a person that sabotages, you're probably going to experience the same exact thing as me. Which is so unfortunate. Because how miserable it is to live this life, to have sabotaged your dreams, your goals, everything that's ever been good to you, everything that's ever been good for you. Your mental health, sabotaging your mental health, sabotaging your everything, man. Why do we do this? Why do we avoid? Why do we sabotage? Maybe it's because we were never given consistent love and care and attention as children. And so as adults, we have this anxious, avoidant attachment to people, to things, to life, to goals. We get anxious about something, how it'll make us look, how we feel about it. What would happen if we failed? And so what do? We avoid. And when we avoid, pretty quickly we fall into a spiral of sabotage, which only leads you further down that pit, that hole of depression, anxiety, self-hatred, insecurity. Something I do, especially prominent when I was younger, not so much anymore, but it was really bad when I was younger, is I would pick my eyelashes and my eyebrows obsessively. It was like an obsessive compulsive disorder, and I would do it out of stress, out of boredom, but I would always do it in a state of sabotage. I knew that if I had half my eyelashes or eyebrows missing, I would be very self-conscious and I would hate my life, and I would be anxious every second of my existence, every second I had to see somebody, every time I had to talk to somebody. I knew I would have to avoid eye contact or hide my face or do something awkward to avoid anybody finding out. I knew this, and yet I still obsessively, I still compulsively did it. It was always when I was sabotaging. It was always when I was doom scrolling. It was always when I would play video games as a cope for my life. It would always be when I'm eating junk food. It would always be when I'm doing the bad habits, watching porn, doing these kind of things. It was always when I was doing these kind of things that I would do that. It was just a constant spiral of self-sabotage that at some point was engaged, and then I just started making it worse and worse and worse after that. But yeah, it's a never-ending cycle, and the only way you can break the cycle, in my opinion, from my experience, is God. It has become such a big stronghold for us, such a big curse on our life, that the only way we can truly effectively overcome it is by finding God and praying and just getting on our knees and giving our life to God and just desperately praying and casting out all the strongholds in our life, speaking against it, speaking positivity. We can improve our life all day long, and I've tried that, and it does help. It does help with sabotage, it does help with insecurity, it does help with anxiety, which is the root of sabotage and avoidance. Anxiety is the root of sabotage and avoidance, right? Self-improvement will help with that, but how much more does it help to be close to God, to be close to the creator of the universe? I've never felt so much peace and love and joy in my existence as when I felt close to God, when I was praying, when I first believed in Jesus Christ. And this is not me being religious and weird. Trust me. This changed my life. This made my life a little more, a lot more bearable. It's the only reason why I haven't unalived myself. And so yes, God is real, Jesus is real, and God can save your life, but you just have to come to Him and realize in faith that He's real and go from there. I know it's hard, I know it's weird. If you're an atheist, I understand. I was an atheist for 18 years of my life, so I get it. Actually, more like 19 years of my life. So I understand, I completely understand, but again, this is what saved my life, and this is what I believe will save your life. Just being close to the spiritual source of everything good. It's just objectively gonna be good for you, and it was good for me. So I love you all. I hope this video helped you in some kind of way. Comment down below if it does pertain to you, and maybe share. Oh, I just ran into a wall. Maybe share how it has affected you and how it has affected your life and what you've done to overcome it. So anyways, I love you all. I hope to see you all sometime soon. Goodbye.